Good morning. My name is Conrado Barzaga. I'm the CEO of the Desert Healthcare District and Foundation. And today we have a very important announcement. And it is that if all goes well, next week we'll be providing access, ample access to COVID-19 tests throughout Coachella Valley. We're working with the three federally qualified health centers in our community. Those are Desert AIDS Project, Borrego Health Foundation, and Clínicas de Salud del Pueblo. And we're going to be providing access to PCR tests and to antibody tests. And there is a distinction between those two. The PCR is going to diagnose when the virus is active in someone who may or may not show symptoms. Primarily, we will be testing those that have symptoms or that had past symptoms. When the PCR test is done in someone who has symptoms and we can corroborate that that person has actively an infection of COVID-19, we know that that person needs to be isolated, that needs to be observed, and that we need to extreme all the measures to avoid the spread of COVID-19. There are people that had symptoms in the past but didn't have access to the PCR test. So we may test those persons next week and find out whether they have levels of immunity that have been elevated. So we will be looking for immunoglobulin G and M, which are the responses from our body against the virus. When we find that a person has that level of immunity, that is a first step in the economic recovery, because people that have had the virus in the past and that are showing now a level of immunity means that that person will no longer be able to transmit the virus, or so is the medical wisdom that we're following. The immunity might not be absolute, but we want to believe that with a level of immunity, that person is no longer ill and will no longer be transmitting the virus. We have been working with Growing Coachella Valley. They are very concerned about the farm workers community. The farm workers community are an essential workforce. They have been providing food for our markets and food for our table. So we want to make sure that that workforce gets the access to healthcare and the access to the COVID-19 tests that they need. We want to make sure that we are prioritizing that community, because that is a community that is so essential in our valley. So we want to provide ample access to, number one, healthcare for that community, but in this case, we want to make sure that they have access to the COVID-19 test, both the PCR and the antibody test. So we will be in continuous conversation with them to facilitate access to the test, either through the drive-through site that we're going to open, or maybe there is an opportunity in those sites that have a large number of farm workers to bring the resources to their site. So to summarize, this week, our infectious disease specialists are calibrating the tests, and if all goes well, we will be opening our 6 testing sites next week. You will find information about those test sites on our website, www.dhcd.org. And we will have the name of the site, the address, the hours of operation, and the phone number where you can call to make an appointment. So we invite you to keep looking at our website and learning about the opportunity that we're opening for all our Coachella Valley residents to get tested. Thank you.